Look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
All right. We are back. Welcome back. It has been way too long. The last time I tried to do this, man, I swear I was dying as I was talking into the mic. I appreciate all of y'all that were patient enough that evening to sit there and listen through that. But no, it's good to be back, man. Like, it's really good to be back. And I actually love coming on here and streaming right now on a day where I feel like my entire feed is full of, like, I don't know if capitulation is the right word yet, but there's a lot of fear. There is, and I get it. You know, we haven't had a solid red day like this in a long time. Yes to crypto, appreciate that, man. Narco, good to have you here. Booyah, good to see you, man. But yeah, you know, it's been a long time since we've had just this type of price action, and people aren't used to it. And a lot of people right now I think that we've got PTSD from the depths of the bear market. So the question then becomes, okay, how do we get out of that? What's next, right? So I am here to walk you through all of that today and more. Few housekeeping things first and foremost. One, I should probably tweet out that I actually am live. You know what? We're going to do that right now. Let's see. We're going to go here, and you guys are going to do something for me. Oh, God, this is going to cause some reverb, but I'm going to make it quiet immediately. Share. Shoot. I can't do it. Okay, well, I'm going to do something else. I've got an idea. Give me 1 second. I should have done this a second ago. This is my fault for being ill-prepared here. But, you know, it happens. This is what you expect with me coming back and not streaming for a little while, right? Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to say going live now. You'll see all of the thought process that goes into the caps live now. For all the degens, get in here and manifest some bullish price action, which is like partially a lie, and you'll see why. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still truthful. So also like, retweet, and drop a comment to help beat Elon's algo, which is true. Elon does have an algo that does not allow any external links to have any type of success whatsoever, right? So if you guys can go to this tweet right now, hit that like button. I would hit the retweet button. I'm going to do that mid-stream because I'm going to remind you guys to go ahead and do that. But you should do it right now, and you should drop a comment also. Drop anything that you want to be able to help boom or move this up. The more people see it, the more fun it is. Okay, so one other housekeeping thing. You know, again, if you are not subbed, you're not going to be able to comment. You're not going to be able to talk. It's not going to be nearly as fun. So hit that sub button, hit the like button at the bottom of this video as well. And that will help me. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Okay, so this is a production studio of just myself. I don't have anybody else. If this is, you know, not as professional as some of those bigger names, do whatever. It is what it is, man. This is what you're going to get, and it's going to be good. You know why? Because one, you all have me, and two, I have you guys. Like it's going to be a good stream, man. So let's go ahead and dive into the BTC price action. First and foremost, again, right now, it feels like the feed is just absolutely depressed. Looking at that, I get it. Especially if you look at the daily right now, we haven't had a red candle like this in a while. And if you're looking at this too, there are a lot of people that have drawn this line right here, and it's like, oh man, we've been rejected against it. Are we going to flip back? Is that it? Is it time to book it? Are we over? And I disagree for a couple of reasons, and here's one of the other things that people have been depressed about today, but I think that it's adding to the bullish case. You look at NASDAQ, right? Look at equities. Boom. Dude, look at that gap up, right? Actually, we'll look at QQQ a little bit. I guess it would have shown easily on both. But yeah, gap up today. Massive green candle, running it back to the highs. And honestly, I don't think I'm working on a thread for this right now, actually. But I think that we're about to enter a massive tech bull run again. I actually think that we're on the verge of it. So, you've got that going, but you've got that type of candle with stocks, right? Same thing with SPY, right? You can go across the board. We've got these massive green candles out here. What the heck is going on with Bitcoin, right? Why are we seeing this? And especially, let's look at Bitcoin versus the S&P 500. This looks ugly, right? What the heck? Is it over? We've had from September through November, the past 2 months, we have gained 55% on the S&P 500. Look at this. Ready? 55% in 2 months. So is that it? Yo, booyah. Yes, sir. I have heard of wonky stonks. They're inevitable, bro. Inevitable. Hey, we got a solid amount of people in here. I appreciate all you guys that are tuning in. So I also apologize for, here's the deal. If I have a set time, you just have to have notifications on for me on YouTube, because what time it ends up being is what time you get. It's that simple. It's more fun that way. Okay, so here's my thought process, right? There were a lot of people that said the same thing back in March, right? And during this period right here, a little bit of a, I don't want to say black swan per se, but you could say what caused that wick downward. You could look to the whole banking crisis, but at the same time, it didn't really make sense why BTC was down so much, whenever the banks were failing, right? When BTC was supposed to be the safe haven and et cetera, boom, we end up wicking back through that. I actually think that we're looking at similar price action right here. I still think right now we are going to fill this level back to the pre-Luna UST collapse sell-off, right? A little bit of a healthy pullback after this much green on the daily versus the S&P 500 is perfectly okay. It is healthy. And the only reason you should really be sweating right now is if you've gotten a little bit greedy over the course of the past couple of weeks and you end up over leveraging yourself and you're like, oh man, I'm losing a lot. And here's the deal. Here's the thing that hurts the average person out here, right? The average person that is in the audience right now, where do you have the highest level of conviction? You have the highest level of conviction at the highest price point. It is just natural, right? It is difficult to have conviction after a big red candle like this. This is scary. It's easy to have it up here when you're like, we're printing new highs. Difficult here, easy there. Difficult here, easy there. Right? There's a lesson here. We cleared a really significant level when you look at the Bitcoin versus S&P 500 chart back at the beginning of October. That's when we really had that green candle that just shot up when we rocketed at the end of October a few weeks back. It was the 2017 ratio all-time high, the 2021, 2022 bull market base range, and also the top resistance of the range that we were looking at the entirety of 2023. So, again, looking at it right now, I don't think that it's anything to be too scared of. We've got basically air between here and up here. And right up here, correlates to right around 40K. If you were wondering, a little bit higher than 40K now that, the S&P 500 continues to climb. But we've seen this type of price action before, right? Like, that's what I want to get across to you, right? This is not something that is completely abnormal. I think this is a normal, healthy pullback and something that you will be grateful for as far as stacking here in higher conviction plays. And if you are a bull, you know what? These type of candles you should celebrate, right? We have had weeks, and I mean weeks, if I feel like sleepless nights when we're sitting there and we're wondering, okay, what is the next thing to rotate into? What's the next meme coin play? What's the next major alt that's going to take off? Is Bitcoin going to take off? The market's giving you a break. Take it while you can. There is no issue with having a couple days. It is nice to be able to take a step back and breathe, to take a step back and to be able to cook a casserole without stressing that I'm missing something. Again, I don't care about the down, right? If we get some red candles and I fill some bids, great. But I'm not worried that it's over. We're not going to get your 12.5K stake bids filled. If you see anybody doing anything like this, like, imagine this. This is hyper sensationalism. This is not going to happen, right? Like, Satoshi would have to come out and be like, I have no idea who Satoshi could be that would even have a chance of doing this. And even if Satoshi somehow was, Jeffrey Epstein, it came out, well, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein's dead. I guess that'd be bullish. But, I don't know whoever the heck it is, like, it doesn't matter, right? At this point, it would take some type of critical black swan event that we have not seen coming. And we've got way bigger problems than the fact that bigger problems globally than the fact that Bitcoin is tanking down to those levels. We're not going to see that happen. So anyway, I think it's important to be able to look at some of these different charts, like these ratios right here that you may not necessarily see. You see some of these different support resistance levels. You see this gap here that you basically have that you don't really have. When you're just looking at the Bitcoin chart, it's not this clean, right? And I wanted to look at this today, again, because you're looking at a day where everybody's talking about how bullish stocks are and how bearish, how bearish crypto is. And I think it's important, again, to be able to look at the picture of the two versus each other. Like, this type of pullback is healthy. I think that we're in an area right now where, it's time to start stacking. So, okay, let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. Now that we've done a little bit of the comparison, now that we've got a big picture of both, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so I pulled this fractal out of my ass, but no, really, I mean, I kind of did, but I like it. I think that it kind of fits the current narrative. But I saw this fractal. I was looking through for some similar price action recently of different uptrends, right? And one of the ones I saw for this uptrend was this move right here, right? Off the September 21 lows whenever we were going up toward the all-time high. It was this right here. And again, a little bit of similarities too with the setup for that versus... I'm going to delete that, F it. Versus where we are right now. Again, both of them, if you're looking at the regions, both of them, you're looking at a higher, you're looking at some type of accumulation, distribution, whatever you want to call it, up near the highs or above the highs, right? Like above the previous range highs. Same type of thing here too. I'm pretty sure happened. I think I drew this out earlier. Point being, it was some type of resistance similar to that, right? And you looked like you had a breakout here, right? You had this whole thing, looked like you had a breakout, boom. And if you were looking at just the diagonal support here, you're like, oh shit, it is over, right? You look at a breakdown and what happens when that, the diagonal support that's been holding up all of this time from this run from September all the way till October ends up breaking, boom, you get this capitulation. And it might, if you're looking at this in isolation, damn, like it looks scary, right? Looks like it could be over. you know, there are a lot of people that would look at that and say, man, it looks really heavy, wants to go lower from here. I'm still saying, hey, you know, we are not, you know, maybe if we dip significantly beneath there, yeah. But, you know, again, same type of thing here. You know, hey, if we're retouching that 32K level, hey, maybe there is something bigger happening here. But right now, again, I see something similar playing out here where, you know, I think that we're going to touch toward that maybe 34K area. Hey, maybe 35K was it. Maybe that's all we've got. But you know, I think that we've got one more leg probably down left in us. A little bit of a grind down here, churn back up. And, you know, I think you leave a lot of bears right now. Like, this is just a little bear trap, right? A lot of bears are getting overconfident in the timeline that are going to get humbled here in the next couple of days. And you know what? A lot of over-leveraged bulls already have been humbled. You know, I said this earlier when I was, yo, AB, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I just do a little bit of youth ministry, but that's it. So I mean, I've led plenty of Bible studies over the years. So you know, hey, maybe I accidentally get on a pulpit instead of leading a discussion. So, yeah, you know, anyway, I think that we dip a little bit lower and, you know, maybe the blood's not done yet, but either way, like, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to take a breather. It's an opportunity to be able to scan the market, look for coins where, you know, you were upset about missing their entries previously, right? Right now is your opportunity to look for those entries, right? Like, let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Shared this several weeks ago. Bitcoin dominance looks toppy. Still does. Still think we're seeing it go lower. Yo, Annex, good to have you here. So I still think it's going lower. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like this into 2024. This might be a bit aggressive. This I have a high level of confidence in. Really do think that we get some type of chop in here. You know, but I'm looking down toward a retest of this around the 48% area. I think that alts continue to outperform here. You know, this just looks like a little bit of a deviation, looks pretty choppy, you know, decent amount of resistance up here against this base range from 2018, 2019. It's a level that I was looking to fill for a while. We filled it. Back beneath it. Again, think that there's a good chance that we do go a little bit lower here. You know, so I'm still bullish on alts. You know, worst case scenario, I think absolute worst case scenario, if I'm wrong here, right? Like, would be something like this, where maybe it wicks above that, retests that resistance, and then continues back down. But either way, I think this is a solid range to be stacking alts, because one way or the other, right? You know, again, you have this, or just this. One way or the other, whether we chop here, bounce back a little bit, or go immediately lower, this is going lower. It is. Like, it is just a matter of time before Bitcoin dominance continues to trend back that way. So I'm not sure when exactly we're going to have that alt season, but I still really think even with the outperformance that we've had in some of the majors recently, there's still a lot of laggards, right? And all because something has outperformed a little bit right now doesn't mean that it can't keep outperforming. Let's take Sol, for instance, right? So if you're looking at Sol did fill the gap that I was looking at from earlier this year. It is absolutely beautiful, man. I tweeted this out back in June that I expected it to fill this pre-FTX collapse level. And what did it do? It filled that level. Man, at this point, though, I don't know. I think it's a decent place to take some profit off the table, right? If you have not taken any profit, decent place to consider it. But at the same time, man, it's so tough to say that because I've seen this type of move before where it just doesn't stop, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, again, if Sol goes all the way up to retest this high from March of 2022. I wouldn't be shocked, man. You know, maybe the July 2022 highs, those would be the two levels that I'd watch if we end up clearing right here. So, but yeah, man, I mean, I'm still bullish on Sol. So I like, it's one of those that it's gone super high. And if you faded it right here, and you're like, oh man, you know, there's no way that it continues. It's already outperformed so much. FTX has a lot to sell still. You know, the creditors are doing what I like. Dude, you'd be left on the sidelines. So, you know, again, I still think that there actually might be some room to run. And, you know, looking at this from a log perspective, oof, looks crazy. Let's look at it from linear. This doesn't look quite as crazy, right? Whenever you're saying running it up to here, doesn't look quite as insane, but it also looks much more plausible when you're looking at some of these previous moves that you get this type of a breakout. Wouldn't shock me to run up there. Am I going to Las Vegas F1 GP? Nah, man, I'm and I've got to say your name because it's too good not to. Hugh Janus. I am not going to it. I am not that cool. First off, I'm not really a Vegas guy. Like, I make fun of me all you want. I've been to Vegas once. And went with a good group of friends. This was like, you know, back in 2015. Had a good time, but dude, first off, I'm not like, I gamble when it comes to stocks and to crypto, but I do not like gambling whenever it comes to cards and anything else, you know, sports betting, just not my thing. So that's number one. Number two, dude, I'm not the biggest club scene guy either. You know, it's just not me. Like, I can go occasionally, you know, if I go to some of these conferences and there's a good opportunity to meet and hang out with people, I'll do it here and there, but it's not what I live for, man. I've got, you know, bigger things than that, and, you know, respect to you if that is your scene, but it's just not me. So it's not one of those things I really sought it out either. So yeah. Like, I don't know. Had I had some type of, you know, invite from one of the, you know, from somebody that sponsors a team, something else, might have done it. But, yeah. I mean, I've got a lot going on the next few weeks. I think I'm going to, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to Art Basel. Got Thanksgiving stuff. You know, it's just holiday season, man. Holiday season's busy. Dude, I want to go to Colombia Narco. I really do. I kid you not. Even if this is your attempt to kidnap me and sell me to whatever cartels are down there, go for it. I'm not worth nearly what you think I am. So, like, I'll give you what I can, man, but, you know, what I can is not what I was, and that's okay. You know, like, we're gonna get back. Slowly but surely. Yeah, I mean, yes to crypto, everything. You know, SoFi is like gambling. It is, right? Like, anything where you were speculating on an asset is a form of gambling. I mean, heck, in a sense, anything that you do in life really is a gamble, right? Like, you may not consider it to be a gamble to sit and work for some corporation, you know, versus going off and doing your own thing. But in a sense, it is a gamble, right? You know, you're gambling with your time. You're gambling with your freedom. And, you know, maybe you think you're being safe with it, but at the end of the day, maybe there's an opportunity that you think you might have been able to do. And again, the gamble to go out and do and chase after whatever opportunity. Like the fact that I've never gone back to pursue an engineering job again, right? Like, I was good at what I did. You know, I was a good drilling and completions engineer. And I decided to be insane and pursue this. And dude, I am unmarketable at this point. And, you know, I've been out of the game for long enough. I would have to completely restart. And, you know, hey, if the Lord ever calls me to that, you know, like, I am not the maker of my own plans and path. Whatever happens, happens. But I don't see myself going back to that because, man, it would be tough resetting that. So, yes, you know, I trade, create content full time. You know, combination of both, man. Like, I tell everybody what my full-time profession now is. Like, there was a prayer breakfast I went to at the church this morning. Everybody asked, you know, I had a couple people ask what I did, and I was like, man, I trade and I tweet. That's it. So, and I guess occasionally stream too. Okay, hey, midway through, told you we're going to go back. We're going to do this midway through. You guys are going to hit that retweet button for me now. Go to my Twitter account, go to the page, go to the profile, hit that like, hit the retweet, get more people in here. We're going to build this up, man. I'm telling you. You want to know how early we are? The fact that we only have 126 concurrent viewers in here, that is early. 132 viewers, whatever the heck it is, that's early. You know, if this were in the middle of a bear market, and I know for a fact because I did a couple streams on Twitch in the middle of the bull market. If this were in the middle of the bull market, dude, I'd have a couple thousand people that were in here, right? So we're going to get back to those numbers eventually. But for now, you know, it is really fun, especially for a streaming noob like me, to be able to have a slower pace, to be able to keep up with more of y'all's questions, to be able to go through. Oh, shoot, I nearly accidentally just knocked over my mic. But yeah, to be able to go through all of that stuff in a slower pace is fun. You know, it's like I said, as far as the Bitcoin price right now, you know, the past couple days are just an opportunity to be able to take a breath after so much green, and really are a blessing if you are bullish on this market. Arm Trades, welcome in. Okay. Yo, Aragorn, appreciate that. I hope everyone does have a good day, but I'm not saying bye yet. Though I don't know, I've got about 30, 45 minutes left in me. Yes to crypto. I can talk a little bit more about the SoFi stuff here in a bit. But, you know, practically right now, the only two that I'm dabbling with are SA and Friendtech, and that's it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later for you. Randy Lamb, are you selling BTC at 42K? Okay, you know what? Here's the deal, Randy. It depends on what your perspective is here, right? Like, what is your purpose for holding? What's your time frame for holding? You know, because honestly, like, I don't think that you need to worry about selling Bitcoin for another, 2 years. You know, if this were late in 2025, I'd be like, yeah, you probably need to be considering some type of exit at this point. But I think we've got a lot higher before. You know, I talked about filling this level as far as the S&P 500 / BTC ratio was concerned. That kind of correlates to up around here right now. So, you know, again, if we filled somewhere between here and here, that's about all I'm really expecting before the halving, right? I think it'd be fun to chop between these two ranges. Maybe we dip down beneath. If we do any dips back down here, I think you buy this chart is. But we're going to go over here. Oh man, it's so busy, and I'm sorry, but it's so good. So I've got to share it with you. I don't care if I share it with you every stream. It is worthwhile sharing every stream. So I'm sure you've seen like the rainbow charts, dude. Again, whoever whoever was the person who just one day said, "Oh, I am the rainbow chart king," and like published that website, dude. People looked at this line well before whatever that website was existed. And actually, what this line really kind of represents, if you're curious about it, and I've posted this before because I was really curious to find some type of correlation for this. So this line actually really, really, really closely follows the exact same line as what you have if you map the total supply curve underneath this, which introduces a question. If you look at the total supply curve, it ends up actually flattening out a little bit more rather than just basically, this becomes almost a linear line at a certain point, right? Total supply curve obviously flattens out to 21 million. So the question then becomes, it's obviously got to be something more dealing with adoption rather than just the halving itself being the pure catalyst as far as the price movement is concerned. But right now, I still think the halving makes enough of a difference that we are going to see some type of price reaction toward it. Because at the end of the day, what is the halving? The halving is the rate of new supply that is being introduced to the market. And the miners have to sell their Bitcoin in order to keep the lights running, right? I know some miners are in the business of gambling and hold some of their Bitcoin in reserves, but a lot of miners aren't. A lot of miners are like, what the price is that day we're selling at, that's it, we're done, we're gone, boom. So, at least a decent portion, right? You've got to sell off some to be able to keep the lights running. Okay, so let's look at this. Where are we right now relative to the halving? And where... how does that relate to where we were in previous cycles? So you can look here, you can look here, you can look here, and you can look here, and look at where they were on the line each time. This fourth quarter, right here, this fourth quarter, do you ever see an all-time high? Do you ever see an all-time high? Do you ever see an all-time high? No. I don't expect that to change here. What do you see? Well, I see price action that sticks pretty close to this trend. Right? Relatively close. You can see, still got the cough. I apologize, guys. I'm still not 100%, but a lot better than I was. 7 Rockets Crow. I've heard about him. We'll get to Doge in a minute. We'll cover a couple of the alts for you guys, a couple other things. But I want to stick to a little bit of this, big picture, because I think the big picture is important, right? Especially on days like today when you've got the red across the market and you've got everybody that has a lot of fear. Where are we? Where are we going? What to expect? You don't want to get overly bullish and you don't want to get overly bearish here. Because at the end of the day, all of these, right, basically ended up becoming some giant flag that ended up leading toward this bull market run that starts after the halving, right? Halving is going to be in mid-April. So what do I expect for us now? And I drew this back at the FTX lows, these lines right here. But what do I expect now? Something similar, man. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and say, I know for a fact that we're going to 50K and then we're going to go back to 30K. No, but what am I confident in? I'm confident that we're going to stay within about this bubble, right? So this bubble, like high 40s, maybe a dip down to, maybe this looks like, by the time we get there, maybe high 20s, probabilistically low 30s though, if we got a dip, after a move up to the high 40s. So again, and does that even, is it even guaranteed that we're going to see that type of dip? No. But, again, if I were, so point being though, look back at every one of these moves, right? Did it matter if you bought here or if you bought there? Did it matter if you bought here or there? Realistically, did it matter if you bought at 10K or if you bought at 3,800? No, one way or the other, in the next year or two, you're printing. You're winning. And this, whether, again, This is a fun little baby rally that we've got right now, right? We've probably got a little bit left in it. We probably do. But that's all it is, right? The real fun is here, right? Here. It is here. It is here. And it will be here. Right? Second half of like 2024 through 2025. Where does it always peak out? You know, if you drew a halfway marker at each one of these between the halvings, half halvings, somewhere between like, you know, if you split this into quarters, right? Happens between Q1 and Q2. You know, halvings take about 4 years in between them. So realistically, where do I expect the top to be? You know, again, whether we break out of this or not, different discussion for a different day. But, you know, where do I expect the top to be? You know, let's just call it no more than 2 years after this. So 2 years after April 2024, you're talking about April 2026. It's probably going to happen, you know, about 6 months before then is probably a really good time. If you have not taken anything off the table before then, like, which would be what, October, November of 2025? If you are not taking some off the table October, November of 2025, it's pure greed, man. I don't care, because we're going to be printing, we're going to be having fun, and that's pure greed. But my whole thing that I'm trying to get across to you guys right now, right, is that where should you sell Bitcoin? Should you sell it at 40K? Should you sell it at 48K? You know, if we drop down to 32K, should you sell some there? Fuck all. I'm sorry for the language. I'm trying to work on that. Told myself I would. You know, James 3. But, you know, forget all of that. Man. Like, this is all... It's all noise. It's all noise. It's all noise. It's all trying to shake you out before this. Before this. Before this. That's the key thing from all of this right now. Okay. Hopefully that's somewhat helpful as far as where I am, what I'm looking at, and why I'm not stressed with a little red day like today. You know what? I'm not playing with the leverage. I'm just not. It's just... I am happy for everybody that's printing. Now is not the time, in my opinion, quite yet, to really put the foot on the gas. Okay. What to next? What to next? Huh. All right, I will say the only degen plays that I have right now are actually in equities. I'll spend like 2 seconds on this. We'll see whether or not it works out. I've got some degen, and I mean, dude, thinking about it, it's really stupid, the calls I have on this. But I've got some AI calls for $50 for January. How stupid is that? You can say, Kaleo, you are an idiot. You are throwing money away. And you know what? You're probably right. I'm only sharing this to show how stupid I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, right? You know, I'm saying be careful, don't blow. Wow, I've got this, right? You know, but I look at this, like, here's my thought process as far as having a stack here. You know, basically, the previous two moves here, from the base to the peak, and I'm not counting that as the peak, and I'm not counting that to the first peak, right? To the up only type of move. Took about, you know, around a month, give or take a week. So around here, again, and each one of them around 200% for the move from the base. You know, base was here, beginning of November. So if it somehow plays out the same and we get that extension and you look at this high time frame breakout and you think there's any type of merit to it whatsoever, combined with, this trend that you've got going here and, looks similar to this type of base range, boom, you'd get a 200% move. We'll see. I will either be a complete dumbass and, again, I've got to work on that language. I will either be a complete idiot, lose the bag, and it'll go to nothing. Or, hey, maybe just maybe it'll be one of those that ends up printing and, being a nice little stimmy at the beginning of this next year. So we'll see. Either way, I'll probably end up exiting, for whatever it's worth in mid-December. I'm not holding to mid-January. It is what it is. So, if any of you guys have been following my equities stuff, that's the, I'll talk about Tesla too. I've got the Tesla bag. Tesla, also DGen. I've got $300 February calls. Dude, freaking nailed this entry. Got in them at 198. And it's been literally up only ever since then. And I think it's going to continue to do that. Like, I will save the rest of my equities bull posting for the next stream because, man, do I have some bull posting for you guys. Like, actually, one more. Dude, I get too excited thinking about this. I was laying up in bed for hours last night looking at a bunch of this stuff, right? And this is one of the charts that I'm super, super pumped about. NASDAQ right now versus the S&P 500. Bro, we are about to see another just mega wave for tech. I think it's going to be like this. Like, I think we're going to have this. And I haven't tweeted any of this out yet. I've been trying to, come up with a time to do it in an eloquent way. Whoop! Call me crazy. Well, actually, will it go to 9? That's probably too aggressive. But you get what I'm saying. We've been in this trend, right? We've been in this trend. Like this type of a channel. Boom, break above the channel. What have we been in here? We have been in a massive channel. And where everybody is calling for some type of correction, bearish, nuke everything to zero, I think we're going to do the opposite. I think we're going to break out of that channel to the upside. And this type of thing will be the top rather than what we've seen right now. And if that happens, again, this will be through 2024, 2025. Guess where it lines up with? The peak around where Bitcoin, everything else ends up peaking. Dude, Bitcoin and crypto will end up outpacing even this. And if this is doing this, imagine what the crypto market is doing. So, okay. That is enough hopium for right now, but also hopefully gives you a little bit more of a reasoning for why I think just survive in 2024, 2025, man. Like, it's going to be worth it. You don't need to FOMO yet. Small wins add up. So we'll see. But to be fair, I also thought this was going to happen right here. And blew about $2 million of QQQ calls back in November of 2021. I literally had $2 million worth of QQQ calls here. $500 calls that ended up expiring. I think I sold them for $100,000. Like, so, it was my own fault. Looking back on it, you live and you learn. So, okay, man, I've done a lot of big picture stuff, and I don't apologize one bit for it. The big picture stuff is the fun stuff, and honestly, the big picture stuff is what I'm better at anyway. I like the fractals. The fractals are fun. I like to dive into some of the other lower time frame stuff and try to nail it. But right now, it's a big picture game, man. It is. Okay, we're going to do a quick pause before I continue. And I'm going to give away an iPhone 5. Or not an iPhone 5. iPhone 5, I mean, maybe that'd be worth something because of how old it is now. An iPhone. So it's an iPhone 15. Right? So, like, I was supposed to give it away weeks ago, and I've just been completely out of it. So I've got the sign up of everybody that was eligible here on this wheel. And I'm just going to click to spin so you guys can see it live and randomized. And also, these are pretty good odds for winning, something like that. I've got a few more people entered Thursday. I've got a giveaway where I'm giving away 1,800 USDT. So you still have time to enter for that. And if you have not signed up for Bybit, today is the final day. Tomorrow, they're going to give me the list of user IDs that are eligible for this. All you have to do is either go to my profile, sign up right here, or go to the description underneath the video, sign up in there using my referral code. And again, you guys help me. Bybit is my partner. You asked what I do this full time, and being able to partner with a big exchange like Bybit that I do use and that I trust ends up helping, right? So anyway, if you deposit a minimum of $100 and make one trade, that's it. You are eligible. Not for this one because I'm giving this one away right now. But as long as you do it, again, dude, I'm way pushed back on everything. It's my fault, but I'm still doing it, making good on it. So you've still got until tomorrow to be able to sign up. Actually, through the rest of the day. Tomorrow's when they're giving me the list, and then Thursday is when I'm doing the announcement. So yeah, if you sign up, I'm doing 3 of these spins instead of 1 on Thursday. Okay, so let's do it. Spin is live. Wheel is live. All right, I got to take a screenshot of that. Congratulations. Boom. And all right. So that's it. We're back to the charts. Okay. So Doge, I know everybody's asking for Doge. I'll share Doge. Doge has been frustrating, I will admit, but I still have my bag. All right, Brosifs, this may be bag bias at this point, so take it with a grain of salt. I still think this right here is going to be like this, 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 is going to be like this. I think we're going to get a big green candle out of this. Where does it realistically come into play? Realistically, I think that it comes into play, and I don't think that it's going to, I'm not so crazy, and ignore this line right here. Ignore that. That's just irresponsible. But, this is true. I do believe this. Maybe this, but that immediately, maybe. That'd take a huge catalyst. But this is what matters, right? I am not, this Doge play is purely, this is going to be a swing. Talking about swing trades right now, I want to exit somewhere above 400. Honestly, 400 to 500 would be incredible. I think that it's going to hit the top of that range. But when Doge moves, it moves fast, right? So I honestly think this whole area right here, decent place to still stack. We've seen a lot of breakouts in other meme coin names. They do have that whole launch thing that's actually pushed back to January now. So who knows? Maybe we're waiting until January. Maybe something with that. I think if it happens well before that, though. But there's probably some hype that leads up to it. They've been talking about this mission with SpaceX with the physical Doge to the moon since spring of 2021. But where this really takes off, if you want to wait and you want to try to enter some type of swing in this, honestly, clear of 220 sats and we're flying. I don't think you'll have too long to really enter past that point, but we cleared 220 and we're flying. So anywhere beneath there, I still think great opportunity to stack. And I'm really not in a rush, man. That's the advantage, just not being in any type of like major leverage position. Hey, if we do, what is this? Like, let's look at Doge compared to some of those other charts that we were looking at earlier, right? We looked at what happened with Solana when it broke out of this high time frame downtrend, saw a pretty good move up, right? Like, I think 15, 16 cents really, really doable here, right? Same type thing with AVAX. Like, let's look at AVAX. Right? Took several days of kind of a slow climb, a little bit of chop before you really started to see these hey, talking about the same type of stuff that I'm talking about for the NASDAQ, right? Same type of trend that I'm talking about on obviously a lower time frame. You had a channel here that it was stuck in, rising channel, boom, breaks out of it. Not crazy, happens. So AVAX, perfect example, right? Like these type of coins that are doing this, and you can even zoom in on AVAX here, right? When it broke out, it did something similar, right? Okay, look at this. Okay, we're gonna go over to Doge now. We're gonna go to Doge. Look at this, right? Okay, ooh, broke out. Looks terrible, right? What happened here? We're going to go to the 1 hour, get a little bit more granularity. Same type thing. Right? Oof. Looked like it was breaking out. Oh, got rejected. Looks terrible. What happened next? Well, the rest is kind of history, right? So I look at this. And I'm like, oh, man, like, looks terrible. Same type of thing. High time frame breakout. You're looking at this. You're looking at that. There's not too much of a difference, right? This right here and this right here both didn't look great. This led to something pretty great. I think this can. So, dips or gifts? But, let's take one more look at AVAX real quick because, dude, this has been fun to play out. If you've been following my streams and if you've been following my tweets, dude, you've been following this fractal for a minute, and dang, has it been good. Dude, look at this. We've been following this since mid-October, all the way back in, I think it was like back here where we looked at it. And, dude, look at how this has played out. Same type thing. Again, not going to say it. You're looking at this slow channel type rise, right? And what did it lead into? The channel led into this downtrend right here. Boom. Ended up getting an acceleration out of the channel whenever we broke through it. Boom. Got something else here. Hey, where did it reach? Right here at the June breakdown levels that we had as a green box for a level to watch and take profit. But boom, what did it do after the rejection? Hey, guess what it did? We need to go back here, auto log. It retested this higher time frame breakout. So what do I think it's going to do now? I think it's going to continue higher. Like, imagine looking at this, and let me get rid of this, the fractal for a minute. Imagine looking at this and thinking this is all it's going to do. Like, again, I'm more bullish. I mean, heck, you can even look at it at a smaller time frame, or a different time frame here. Something similar where boom, boom, boom. Maybe this is more realistic, right? Like, hey, maybe we get some type of price action like this. One second. Oh man, I gotta make this way smaller. Maybe something like that is possible. fills that line up to the April highs, retests it again, and then goes crazy. One way or the other, man. Like, this is going higher. And you may even say, man, Kaleo, this looks ridiculous. Does it? Dude, does it really? Like, look at Soul. Again, broke out here. This is kind of where AVAX is right now. Which I need to look at it in log because I did have it in log when I was looking at it earlier. Okay, AVAX is kind of like right here, right now, right? Or, you know, if you're saying that this base range is equivalent, hey, I mean, yeah, one way or the other. Right there, right there. I think it's got, like, doing something like that is not crazy. So, again, I'm still super bullish on AVAX. You know, I'm not sure if that ends up being 30, 40 bucks, whatever it is. But, dude, I mean, 20 is easy. 30, 40 right now, not crazy either. Now, when you're talking about real bull market predictions for later on in 2024, 2025, hey, you know, depends on the success of the network. 100 plus isn't crazy. But as far as like this cycle, where we are right now, the type of move that I got, and remember where we are relatively to where we were in the cycle from what I brought up earlier, I don't expect this to be the penultimate move yet, right? That's coming later. But we'll see. And for what it's worth, as far as AVAX is concerned, yes, like I'm still on the arena. I still think that it's an opportunity that, you know, you do have the opportunity to be able to farm. You have the opportunity to be able to farm an airdrop in the SoFi space with right now what I think is a pretty competent team. You know, obviously still questions to be answered. You know, it's the same type of thing as dealing with meme coins, right? Like, is it guaranteed that the meme coin will be successful and will not go away? No, it's not. But at the same time, I look at the product that they have. I look at the core community that's in place, and I look at the team that's taken this over, and I look at what it would have been had the other team not just been the most incompetent group of individuals I've ever seen. And I think this would have been way higher as far as the TVL was concerned in the first place. But it's difficult to overcome something when you've broken that level of trust in a product in the first place. So a few things that really need to be done. One is a rebrand, which I heard is coming. You know, you need a complete rebrand away from this. Two, you know, there are a lot of like functionality aspects that would be nice. Like if I comment on somebody's post, I can't comment on a comment yet. Little things like that make a big difference. And I know they're coming, but they're not there yet. You know, you've got the transition of the team, things like that are on their way. I still think that stuff is on the way. So I've got my bags there. I'm keeping my bags there. You know, whatever happens, happens. But I still think it's one of those type things where at the same time, you are, you know, you're farming AVAX, right? By trading on here, by people trading your ticket. One, you are farming AVAX. Two, you are also farming for an airdrop in the SoFi ecosystem. So you've got to double, you know, two things that are happening at once. And yeah, you know, like I just think it's a no-brainer to at least stay active, right? Like we'll see what happens. It's no guarantee that it works out. Everything's a risk, but I'm still there. Dude, as far as meme coins are concerned, bro, I want to bring this up because I still think ticker Bitcoin ends up later on. I mean, it just feels like it's well enough established. It's not going away. Ticker Bitcoin's going higher. It's that simple. Something like this. You heard it here first. Let's see. What else do I want to cover right now? I'll get into NFTs a different time. Different stream. I'll do another stream where NFTs are the primary focus. Won't do that right now, but we will get into it. It's worth it. Let's see. One last check on BTC. Where are we right now? I feel like I've gotten across the main points that I really wanted to right now. There are a lot of different alt charts that all look bullish. You're asking me about a bunch of different alts that are out there. Dude, if you're asking me about it, odds are probably bullish, right? When I'm looking at the Bitcoin dominance ratio, I mean, heck, probably worthwhile to look at ETH. Personally, I don't think ETH is going to be anything super sexy anytime soon. This is what I ended up sharing a while back. Little double bottom here. I think it just slowly churns up. Eventually breaks higher, but nothing too sexy. I mean, if you're lucky, something like this, right? Like, if you were lucky, this doesn't get rejected and shot more. And instead, when it happens, you break up, right? I wouldn't trust that, though, until you get a confirmation above here. But, I mean, definitely bullish on ETH. Definitely bullish on the ratio. Just, again, saying it's a little bit slower. TVK. Tell you what, Akara, I'm not really too familiar with TVK. So I will look into TVK after the stream is over. And I will cover TVK next time. Ordi is a good one, Goaty. I do like Ordi, which I do need to still look more into Ordi itself. Ordi's insane. I mean, here's the deal. It's so tough when you see something like this, right? That's had this type of a move to sit there and shill it. I mean, honestly, as bullish as I am, Ordi, I have a hard time buying it here, right? Like, dude, look at this. Like 600% since mid-October doesn't mean that it can't go higher. Personally, though, my thought process is, I mean, dude, what is Ordi's market cap right now? Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me look at something and I'll... By the way, Ordi is, an Ordinals BRC20 play for those of you who are not familiar. So it's a 440 mil. Okay. So, dude, I mean, this still has a lot of room to go higher. BRC20s are going to be big next cycle, and I really need to get more into BRC20s. But if I were to guess, as far as where we are right now, if I just had... oh, man, somebody's going to use this against me, but my gut... My gut says you do something like this before you have a massive leg. Maybe you have another one up. It's just really tough to buy into this. I see something like this being more probabilistic before having another major leg up, which will, like, Ordi has, I'm not saying it doesn't have a solid chance of 1 bill plus, right? But again, looking at this, here's the thing that we want to look at here in the chart. Same type thing that we talked about for Bitcoin earlier. Well, let's see. I don't know, bro. Like, when I see this type of distribution above, you're looking at this type of support here on the log. Like, odds are if it hits that, it's going beneath it. And that doesn't mean that it's going to zero, right? We established that earlier when we were looking at the Bitcoin chart. Could mean that it, ranges for a bit. So, see. But all right, ladies and gents, it has been a fun past hour. It's crazy how fast time does fly. Drop in the comments, if you could for me, what you guys want to see from me next video. If there's something that I did not cover here, I'm not talking about the comments, in the chat section, as much as I love the chat. I mean, underneath the video itself. Drop in the comments after this is done and let me know what you want me to cover on my stream. I will definitely be running one Thursday. Again, reminder, if you have not signed up for this yet, you've got until the end of the day. to be able to sign up for this. You know, again, gave away the iPhone 15, got the winner for it. User ID 582599403. We're going to do 3 of these wheels on Thursday, giving away $600 USDT to each winner. All you have to do is sign up using this link and deposit a minimum $100 and make 1 trade. Also, one other thing with Bybit that I'm doing soon that's cool. They are having a trading competition. I will share all the details with that here on Thursday as well. You can join my team, Kaleo Army, for it as well. I think they're doing $500,000 in prizes, so I will keep you guys posted on all of that information also. But yeah, you know, we'll just overall, man, the biggest point of today is zoom out, right? Like, zoom out, stack. Now's not the time to be fearful. Now's the time, in my opinion, still to be preparing for the next couple of years, having some fun in the process. But you know, don't risk the bag yet, right? It's not time. You'll have plenty of time stacking small wins. Don't let FOMO control you, you know, and that way, guess what? If you're not over leveraged right now, this move right here isn't scaring you. You know, you can go cook a casserole and do it without being stressed out. So I appreciate y'all joining. It has been real. Again, if you could like, comment, subscribe, do all the above, would really appreciate it. Drop those notifications on for my account as well, because you never know when I'm going to drop a live stream. I'm pretty sporadic with it. Do I have a set time? No, I do it whenever the market calls for it, whenever I am healthy enough also, which is why I've not been doing it the past couple weeks. But, you know, I'm healthy again, so should mean more streams coming your way. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. I know I have. Again, appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys next time. Also, wonky stonks are inevitable.
Some new shit in there, swimwear, going to the pool shit. Before I'm someone you leave behind, I'll make it loud so you don't break mine. Before I love you, gonna leave you, even if I'm not here to stay, I still want your heart.